welcome back to Sour and SaaS episode number 10. Now, I usually don't introduce my guests, but this one's special, and so I'm gonna do my best. Don't grill me if I mess up anywhere. But she's the marketing manager for Exit 5, the #1 private community for B2B marketers with almost 6,000 members now. I would say she's the youngest in charge right now. Like, she's closed a lot or a big portion of Exit 5's revenue from selling sponsorship to B2B marketers. And so that's what the focus of this episode is about, is sponsorships and how to run the proper sponsorship play on top of how to actually create events that people actually want to go to. And so without further ado, it is my great honor to have Anna Vermillion on the on the Sour and Sass podcast.
I love it. Thank you. That was a perfect intro. I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. So you and I are very similar in age. So like we're some young folks like in the B2B game. How did you get to Exit 5?
Yeah, so I graduated from UT Austin, Hookem, in 2024. And I was an advertising major. I was a business minor. So I knew I wanted to do marketing. But actually my freshman year of college, I feel like I wanted to go get a job at the golf course working the beverage cart. And my dad was like, no, you need to go get an internship now. And it was the best advice I ever received. I'm so thankful for my dad for pushing me to go get an internship. So I found an internship on LinkedIn. It happened to be in B2B marketing. And then I had a really great boss. It was a sales enablement software. I'm not sure how the company is doing now, but it was just a really great experience as a first start. And then I had a really great boss who I followed to another internship. And so I ended up working part-time in B2B marketing as an intern, basically all of college. And so I feel like it's pretty uncommon to do that as a college student. Like, it's not as glamorous. Everyone wants to go work for consumer brands immediately or go work at an agency, especially because I was an advertising major. That was the big thing to do. But I feel like I was able to position myself differently because I had that start. And so I ended up just finding Exit 5, a list or the job on LinkedIn from my boss, Dan, now. And I cold emailed him. I stalked him online, found his personal email, and I sent him a really great email that he still references to this day.
Let's go.
And I think I started at Exit 5 a week later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite discipline or aspect of advertising marketing? What would you say is for you?
Yeah, I think I'm a really creative person. I also am chronically online. And so I love trends. I love like ads and seeing what people are doing right now. And so I think it's fun, especially in B2B marketing. Like, no one is doing that right now, or like the best brands that people are talking about are the ones that are treating it like consumer brands. And so I think it's really interesting to just see what people are doing right now.
Yeah, that's really interesting because you're right.
Yeah.
Nobody comes out of college being like, yo, I'm going to go do marketing for B2B.
Yeah,
So
it
like,
doesn't, people don't really even know what it means.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
for you, what was the draw when you love creativity and you love like that aspect of marketing, the more creative, like high quality ads, like really fun, trendy stuff versus B2B, which is synonymously known as being boring?
Yeah, I think transparently, like one of the big things was I found out that there was like more money in B2B in some ways. Like, I hate to say it, but it's kind of true. Like, I just felt like I was going to be able to accelerate my career faster if I started in B2B because I already had this internship experience. And I feel like so far I already have. And I also had worked at 2 startups, and I feel like they were both happened to be in B2B as well. And I loved being on a small team and having at both of those startups, I had an amazing boss. And so I went in looking for a role where I knew I would have a good boss, like, cause you can just kind of like tell from the interview process. And that was a small team that I could really grow. And I found that in Exit 5. If it would have been a B2C brand, like, I would have been happy too, but I just found the job at Exit 5 and I was like, this is made for me. And that's where I'm at now.
This is a shameless plug. I must ask, how is it working with Dave Gerhardt?
It's great. It's great. No other comments.
Is he as funny?
Yeah, he's really funny. He's like the best MC at everything. So that's why all of our webinars, our newsletters, our podcasts are so successful, because he's like almost like our mascot and just is so personable and people love him. And so he's pretty much exactly how he is.
That's true, because I got to meet him, what was it, last year?
Yeah, when you did at our meetup.
Yeah, here in Austin. I snuck in, by the way, don't tell anybody. But it was fun meeting
I'm going to invoice you after this.
Hey, you got to get that sponsorship money some way. Well, we don't call it Sour and Sass for no reason. And since we're getting the sponsorships, I hope one day, I really hope that I get sponsored by Fruit Riot. So let's hope it happens. I told you every time. It just does this to me.
I'm scared because I just brushed my teeth. It's probably gonna taste horrible.
You're in for a good one. Well, I'm going to ask the first question while I struggle with this. So let's start with sponsorships. Like a good part of your revenue as a business comes from sponsorships. Walk me through what makes a sponsorship actually work. What do most brands get wrong when they try to sponsor communities, newsletters, or events? And what does Exit 5 do differently?
Yeah. So just a bit of background. Exit 5. Wait, do you need me to wait until it's open?
Sure.
Okay. I don't want it to like create extra noise.
No.
Are they frozen? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm bringing scissors next time.
Yeah.
I know for sure.
Or like pre-open them before.
Yeah. See, that's the smart idea to do, because this is not working. Ah.
Oh, there you go.
Finally. All right.
We got it. Do I need? Okay. I'll eat one now. Oh my gosh. I've never tried these before.
I apologize now in advance for.
That was good.
It wasn't sour?
No, it's sour. Yeah, and cold. And after brushing my teeth. Ooh,
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
a trooper for that one. That's
I'm like crying.
crazy.
Anyway, okay. So a bit of background on Exit 5 sponsorship. We work with around 20 partners a year. So these are typically big B2B SaaS companies that are looking to target B2B marketing leaders, typically are looking to target mid-market to enterprise. B2B marketing leaders is kind of our ICP. But we sell them big bundled sponsorships. So typically they'll come in and we will sell them a bundle of a bunch of newsletter placements in our newsletter that goes out twice a week. We'll sell them a couple podcast ads because we have a popular podcast, and then we'll sell them like 1 or 2 webinars across the span of like 4 to 6 months. It's typically, most of them extend their campaign for longer, but that's typically where we like to start. And so the ones that are the best at it are the ones that recognize, one, that you have to get in front of multiple touch points for this to work. Like the people that come in and just want to buy an ad placement in our newsletter as a one-off and expect to drive like 50 leads and we book 100 demos from it are the ones that don't really get in, and those aren't the ones that are going to be the most successful. The ones that are going to be the most successful are the ones that are like really investing in brand, and we work with them kind of as a mini agency to help them craft their messaging and positioning so that it resonates in front of our audience, and then that repetition at a bunch of different touch points on a bunch of different of our channels over 4 to 6 months is what is going to drive the best results.
How did you? Because it's really hard even for most companies to get one channel to be not just successful but get eyeballs on it. Y'all have done it with 3 different ones. So how has that been? Did you come into it with all 3 kind of built out, or like what was that kind of building the webinar, podcast, newsletter place for all of that to be such a big thing in B2B that people actually pay attention to?
Yeah, I kind of came in like Dave already had done such a great job of building the brand and like making a name for the company. We've grown the list quite a bit. Like it's over doubled since the time I've been there. But I think it really comes down to just continuing to invest in those channels and treating them like their own product. And it's something that we're doing so much right now. Like we will spend, I think the last newsletter ad that we had for a sponsor, it went through 5 different people on our team, and we're a team of 7. So basically everyone had their eyes on it, and it's just like, that's the kind of results that we want to deliver. And whenever you spend the time there, you will see the results.
Okay. So why should somebody pick Exit 5 to do sponsorships over versus just buying a LinkedIn ad? Like
Yeah. And people come to us. So it's like a lot of times, for context too, all of our sponsorship is inbound. So we don't really do any outbound to sponsors.
Wow.
Which is why it's really fun. So like I do the sales for it and I do the account management, but it's fun sales because it's not like we're cold calling people begging them to sponsor our channels. But a lot of times we have specifically demand gen marketers that come in and they're trying to like figure out the perfect attribution for everything, and like they're trying to figure out what the cost per metric is and how to justify this to their boss. But the thing that we really try to sell, and the reason it works, is because the quality of our audience is so much better. So like maybe we only drove 50 clicks for you in the newsletter, but the quality of our audience is so much better, is what we consistently hear from our sponsors. And so we are more likely to get you the perfect fit ICP in our channels than anywhere else. And so that's why like these big vanity metrics and engagement metrics are not as important, because the quality is so good.
Okay. So you mentioned that you almost act like a mini agency, right, for sponsors. So you help them with copy, messaging, and positioning. why do sponsors need that help? Can't they just write most of the copy on their own?
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the whole thing where like people love Dave and they love our brand and they love his voice. Dave is our founder, by the way. And if we just plugged in an ad in the newsletter, like people would just skip over it. It's like I've gotten so used to just skipping ads. But whenever it's interrupted in the newsletter, but it's in Dave's voice and it just seems like it's a part of the story, that's why it works so well. And transparently too, we just want to be able to have editorial control of stuff because we don't feel good about publishing stuff that sucks. And so that's why we do it that way.
How do you kind of position it as a bundle instead of what if somebody comes to you like, I just want to be on the newsletter, I just want to be on the podcast, I just want to be on the webinar? What's your warning to them to be like, I would do all three?
Yeah, we're like, we have a lot of demand, and if you don't like it that way, then we can't sell it to you. Basically, like that's why it's fun sales because like we can actually like be selective about who we want to partner with. Because we want to work with people who understand our channels and really want to invest in it the way that we've built it out.
Well, you're selling to B2B marketers and they have a BS detector. So how do you get past selling to B2B marketers who every time they see an ad or hear about a sponsorship, they're like, I don't know about that. Like, how do you, it's inbound one, but how do you handle those conversations with people who are pretty notoriously good at being able to pick up on a bad ad or feeling like they're sold to?
I think one, we vet our sponsors before we work with them, and we've done a lot better job at doing that now. It's like we want to make sure that what we're promoting, we want to have eyes on whatever they're trying to promote well before it goes out, just so we know we feel good about what that is. And again, it goes back to just writing it in our voice. Like I think we're good at masking an ad in a way and just making it feel less like an ad. And people also really trust us, and so especially whenever we're talking about different tools that we're promoting or using, people are actually really tuned in because they're like, oh, like I've seen Exit 5, like I know, I trust them, and so I'm interested to hear about what tools they're using and promoting.
So you said that you vet your sponsors. So what are some of the red flags you see for whether a sponsor probably won't work out or they won't see ROI? What are some of those red flags that you see early on?
That's a good question. I think it's the people that are just very CPM driven and attribution driven. Like I know you want to be able to track everything and that is important and we have numbers to show that too, but it's like the culmination of all of them together, and I think that's the best sponsors are the ones that are able to see that kind of.
You don't have to give me a concrete answer, but kind of how long should somebody kind of commit to sponsorship before they expect to see ROI? Because everything in B2B takes time.
Yeah, that's hard. And I feel like it depends on their deal cycle. And then it also depends on just whatever we did together. So, it depends on the follow-up they do, honestly. I think that's my answer. Like, if we do a big webinar together and you don't follow up with those people, then that's your fault. But sponsors that do a really great job at following up with people, like in-person events and especially webinars too, like those are the ones that are going to see the best results. And we also like to work with them to do meaningful follow-up as well. Like, don't make it sound like a bot from your sales team. Like, we will work with you to make it sound like natural and like something people actually want.
Okay. Speaking of what people want, what's today's date? Today is the 19th. Drive just launched today.
Yeah, I know that date off the top of my head because Drive tickets are live now. And it's been on the calendar.
So speaking of Drive, I want to go like a little bit on the operator side of things. So you help plan Drive from like its initial conception. What makes Drive so different as not being just another glorified vendor pitch event?
Yeah. So the thing that we really like to emphasize with Drive is the concept of the third space. So this is the times that you're connecting with people beyond the sessions, beyond the breakout groups. It's the time in between stuff. And I think that's what makes Drive so special is like, not only do we have really great speakers, like we are already spending so much time right now thinking about the speakers that we want to put in front of people in 6 months from now, as well as workshops and breakout sessions. But like those opportunities that we give people to connect in natural ways are really important to us because that's where you meet your new best friend or your new mentor or your new colleague is whenever you have 30 minutes in between sessions and you both ordered the same coffee and you bond over that, and then it leads you into a conversation about what you both do. So we have realized that that is what makes our event so special, and so we are continuing to double down on that part.
But Anna, events are supposed to drive ROI. So how do you manage community value versus the sponsorship value at Exit 5?
Yeah, we intentionally keep sponsorship to a minimum at these events. Again, it goes back to we really like to vet our sponsors and be a little bit selective about who we take on as sponsors. I think this year we'll have more sponsors than we ever had before, and it will be max 7, which is still like a pretty small amount of sponsors for a conference, because I think everyone expects for there to be like 30 and booths everywhere. And so I think because we have such a small amount, and they're typically, at least the ones confirmed right now, are sponsors that we've been working with for over a year now. And so we know how their team works. We have met their team in person. We are able to go deeper with them on their activations and make it really meaningful for them. And that is what makes it work for them.
How do you vet some of these sponsors? Some of you should be listening to this, just in case you want to be a sponsor for Exit 5. How do you, if you only have 7 there, how do you ensure that they're not just selling everybody and pitching everybody? How do you ensure that they're kind of integrated into the entire Drive ecosystem and it doesn't feel like an interruption as much as in another opportunity or another activation point for the entire event?
Yeah. Again, we have editorial control over everything because we call ourselves tastemakers. Like, that's what we continue to say. And so I think also sponsors see that and they trust us to be the tastemakers in that. But the way that most of these bundles work is sponsors will get a dinner to bring people out one night, or they will, this year, a lot of our sponsors will get to host a workshop. We only gave that to sponsors that we think would be a good fit for that kind of. We are allowing sponsors to take a group of people out to golf, that kind of thing. So it's like just smaller touch points with attendees where they get to be in front of like 15 to 20 people versus try and do something like crazy in front of the 400 people that will be there this year is what really drives ROI for these people, and it makes it feel a lot more authentic.
Next one.
Oh, do I have to? Yeah. Okay.
If you get to the point where you can't, just tap out, and that's why I don't eat them anymore. I just let my guests suffer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, have you been to other B2B events?
Not really. I've only been to Spring in Austin. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you've heard from your vendors who have probably maybe tried to be a sponsor of other events, or you may have heard it online or seen it through the grapevine. But maybe what have you heard or what have you seen is one of the biggest mistakes bigger like marketing events, B2B marketing events make a mistake at when it comes to like putting together an event, handling sponsors and vendors? Like, what are some of those big gaps that you see that Exit 5 is plugging in with Drive?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are a little bit hesitant to want to sponsor like a booth, or like it works really well for some people, but then as an attendee, it's just annoying. Okay. This year we actually are allowing booths, so hopefully that doesn't piss anyone off. But I think again, it's intentionally small. We want these to be a home base for our sponsors, more of like a branded space, less of like thinking of it as like a booth and more just a home base for sponsors. Like a lot of these sponsors have previous relationships with people that will already be at the event. And I think just activating like the things that we sell the sponsors, we're very intentional about. And so we know from the start that it's not going to leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth. Again, editorial control is what makes all this successful.
Man, shout out to editorial control.
Mm-hmm.
I see that's taking y'all a long way.
Yeah.
Speaking of events, because Drive isn't just a big one, this retreat that's coming up in Arizona isn't just a big one, but you also have local chapters in different cities. I think you have like 30 plus at this point.
Yeah.
Shout out Austin chapter. So how the heck do you scale that many locations without losing the magic? Like, what makes these events so special at that scale?
Yeah. So we started out doing these local chapters as Exit 5 run. Like, we wanted to be there and we wanted to run them ourselves, but given that we're a team of 7 and now we have 30 chapters, like obviously that would not have worked. Yeah. And then we explored the idea of like, maybe do we bring on an event agency and like have them run these chapters? But at the end of the day, shout out to Matt, our head of community. He really pushed on the idea of having ambassadors. And I think, again, because we have such an engaged audience, like there have been people in every single city that have volunteered to be an ambassador. And so now all these community meetups are self-run. They typically do it once a month, once every other month. But a lot of people work remote. A lot of people are solo marketers or agency owners and they have no one to talk to and they just need to get out of their house. And so people show up for these things, even if it's a small group of less than 10, like that's still meaningful to that group of people. And having the ambassadors has been a big play for us.
Okay. You and I are very young.
I don't know how old you are.
25.
Okay, you're 25.
You're
okay.
24, right?
Yeah, I'm 24.
Okay, cool. So you're 24.
Yeah.
You're early in your career, but you're planning events that seasoned CMOs are going to. How do you build credibility that early in career to be like, hey, I'm 24, but I'm putting on the most fire baller B2B events out there? Like,
Yeah.
pull up.
I think the reps helps, just doing it over and over again and feeling confident. I also, being on the sponsorship side, I have worked with a ton of different companies, and mostly our point of contact is either like the director of marketing, head of marketing, sometimes their CMO, or at least that's who we initially talked to about the partnership. So again, it's just like doing it over and over again. You get more comfortable. I don't know how I would have done it without ChatGPT and Claude now.
Shout out.
Like
Claude and
seriously, I don't
ChatGPT.
even know. Yeah, it's like I feel like, I mean, not that I'm responding to every email using ChatGPT, but like I could not imagine like 4 years ago stepping into my role and not having that as a resource to help me feel more confident about just myself and like the way that I'm talking to these people. So shout out, that has been a lifesaver. And then yeah, just doing it over and over again.
I love the Claude shout out.
Yeah, we just switched over everything to Claude this week. So we're canceling our team's
Claude is fire.
ChatGPT.
Yes.
Yeah.
I use Claude for all like creative video, like anything I need to come up with concepts and like write stuff out. Like Claude is the homie. So
Yeah.
so then how do you deal with? Do you ever deal with like imposter syndrome, being like 24, coming into a space that's like mad old people in it? Like do you ever feel like excuse me, do you ever have like imposter syndrome? And if you do, how do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, I think I did more at the beginning, but especially I feel like my position on this is different because I don't go to a lot of other industry events. And so most of them are Exit 5 run. And so whenever I don't know what to talk about, I can just default back to Exit 5 because that's what everyone's there for anyway. So that was really helpful, but I'm also just very much a people person. And at the end of the day, like we all do the same thing.
1000%.
So maybe I don't have a family and kids and like, cause most of these people at this age, like we default to talking about their family and like, I can't really relate to them in that way. But we all work in marketing. So there's something we can find in common. And I think that's the beauty of Exit 5. No matter who you are, we all have something in common, and it's nice to find a community in that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So for someone who wants to put on their first event, what is something that they need to get right in order for people to show up? And not just show up, but also have a good time and walk away with actual value.
Yeah. I think for us, we already had I came into Drive 2 and it was like my first year that I started at Exit 5. Drive was we had the venue and we already had the community too. So like it's like we already had this engaged audience. So my perspective on this is different because we have never really had the problem as much with like getting people to show up because of our audience. But what was your question? How to make them stay, basically?
Yeah, or stay or walk away with actual value.
Yeah, I think we really purposely try and make sure that we're covering every single topic that people would care about. Like we look at the attendee list, make sure that people are getting at least something that applies directly to their job. And this year we're going to split out into around 12 different workshops that are a big event. So people will get to self-select. And I think people really care about that. But then too, just opportunities to network. Like that's the whole thing at Exit 5. And so at a lot of our events, we do speed networking, which people love. So Dave will get on the mic and he'll have people switch around in different groups every 5 minutes to meet someone different. And at the end, to make sure everyone was paying attention, there are like really sick prizes that we give out at the end. So like if you remembered 3 things about this person, you go home with like a paddleboard or like a pair of Tacovas. So
You pronounced it so wrong when he was here in Austin.
Oh yeah, he said Tecovas. Like we still talk about that. Yeah. Don't even worry. Don't get me started on Taco Deli, which is another thing. This was like a whole joke on our team. Is that Dave was like, yeah, the best tacos in Austin are from Taco Deli. And I was
No,
like,
sir, no. Dave,
Yeah, I'm gonna show him this clip.
He's gonna have to come back to Austin and try some more.
Their breakfast tacos are really good. But
Yeah, we'll give it to
I'll
him.
give them that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think just like again goes back to the third spaces, the opportunities to like connect, even for the people that are like a little more awkward. And we plan it really far in advance now too. So you got to give yourself the time to be able to think through all that.
Yeah. So yeah, you may not have like started the momentum of Exit Five, but to jump into something that's kind of already on the up and up and popping off, it speaks a lot to your maintenance because there's been a lot of B2B marketing communities that have come and go. They've hit a high point and then they fizzled out. How are you maintaining this much engagement? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think one is just like the personality of our brand. And then two, I think it goes back to just us investing in our channels. Like we're constantly pumping out a newsletter twice a week. We are doing a webinar twice a month, a live session as we call it, because we don't like to call them webinars because they're actually fun. And then we have this podcast that's really popular. And then again, with like our in-person events, it's like we make a big splash on LinkedIn and as well. And so I think we're just top of mind. We continue to be top of mind for people because we are really investing in our channels.
If you could share the sauce, you don't have to. What makes the Exit 5 newsletter, like the architecture of it, so openable? That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I maybe don't have the best answer for this because I'm not super involved in the actual like newsletter creation. But as someone that's read it, obviously, it's like it's just Dave talking. Like he just writes in the way that he would talk to you. And that's like one thing that I've always liked about the way that Exit 5 does marketing is because I always felt like in B2B, especially like in my background of my internships where it was like software products, like we have to be very buttoned up and like use corporate jargon. But especially now, like I feel like I follow a lot of like corporate influencers, like corporate Natalie and stuff. I feel like it's kind of a trend now to like make fun of the corporate jargon and like actually speak like a real human and almost model after B2C brands. And so I think like that's one reason that our newsletters pops off.
Okay. You can say no, it's okay. However,
No. Immediately no.
I'm not mad at you. I'm gonna sit those there. Hopefully we get sponsored still. So let's talk a little bit about the battle scars. So you've been doing it for almost 2 years now. You run sponsorships, events at Exit 5. What was the most expensive mistake that you've made, whether it was a sponsorship who flopped or an event that didn't go as planned or a campaign that looked great on paper that fell apart? Like, what was that mistake that was like,
Yeah. I have a story on lock for this because we talk about it all the time at Exit 5, and it is the boat fiasco. So basically at Drive last year, we had this big moment at the event that everyone was going to go on a big cruise boat at sunset and people paid an extra $100 to go on this boat. We had a sponsor tied to it. Like it was like this big thing. And then 3 hours before everyone was supposed to get on the boat, we got a call from the guy and he was like, just confirming, see you tomorrow. Like the guy that was like the boat captain. We were like, tomorrow? Like we're heading over there in like 30 minutes. And he was like, no, it's tomorrow. So we had to like change. If you like have planned events before, like to have this big thing that was like in the middle of the event change that people had paid for. And then like it got moved to the next night and people were flying out and people were like upset because they were going to miss it now. And then like we had to rearrange all these sponsor dinners and we had to rearrange all the shuttle and transportation, like, and to do all that in like 30 minutes before it ended. It was just like, it was a disaster. However, we actually like handled it really well. Like we all got together. We were like, okay, we need to figure this out in like 20 minutes right now. So we all started calling every single brewery in the city of Burlington, Vermont to see if they could fit 200 people for dinner in like an hour from now.
Wow.
We found one that was walking distance and we brought all 200 people over there and had a great night. And it still ended up being a lot of fun. So the moral of that story is like always check the contract because we realized it was in the contract for the wrong day, the day of the event, which was a big bummer. But what I love about the Exit 5 team is like we figured it out and like no one blamed each other. Like it was like, we're going to roll with it. And I think everyone was pretty understanding and like it ended up being this like super fun moment at the event anyway. And then we still went on the boat the next night. So
oh, let's go.
yeah, okay. But that will go down in Exit 5 history. That's like big company lore.
Okay. So you graduated college 2 years ago, and you've already helped close a big portion of Exit 5 revenue from sponsorship. What have you learned about B2B marketing, sponsorship, and even B2B sales that they didn't teach you in college?
Everything, basically. Yeah, okay. Everything. I just feel like, yeah, like literally everything. I feel like I've learned everything like through Exit 5. Like not that I didn't get a great education at UT, like I did learn a lot, but just like how to communicate with people, and following up with people is like a big thing. And just there's like so many things that you just like don't learn in school. And like that's honestly our whole motto at Exit 5 is like by joining the Exit 5 community, you can get an MBA in B2B marketing for a very small price because no one teaches it in school.
1,000%.
Yeah. I like told someone once that I worked in B2B marketing and they were like, "Oh, I've heard of that company." And this is like someone I went to UT with. So,
I've heard that company's insane.
yeah, it was like, "Oh, yeah."
Okay. What would you say was what was a big, I guess, misconception you may have had going into B2B marketing or coming out of college, going into professional world overall? What would you say was something you went into the professional world with this, like, this is how it's going to be, and then you got into it and it's like, oh, this is a total farce. Like, this is not how it was at all. Like, what was that mind-blowing moment for you?
I think one, that B2B marketing can be fun. And it's one thing that we constantly talk about at Exit 5. Like we did a newsletter on this, that B2B is not boring. And we had so many different people reply to that newsletter that were in the most obscure random industries that you never even would have thought there would be a company for. And they talked about their job and like everyone has a job. Everyone's doing all these like niche random things. And I actually think it's really interesting to learn that. I met someone at Drive that worked for like a software that runs churches. And I was like, I never would have thought that was a thing. Yeah. And so I think I learned that B2B is not boring. And that also I got really lucky because I love my job. And as someone who's 24 and has a lot of peers who are kind of at the bottom of the pyramid at big companies and just kind of are hating what they're doing, I think I just feel really lucky that like, you can actually get a job that you love and you don't have to wait like 10 or 15 years to get there.
So what would you say to a peer if they're like, yo, I'm at McKinsey or a big corporate company, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, and then I seen this podcast and Anna's like killing it with events and sponsorships. How do I jump in? Like, what advice should you give to somebody who wants to make that career jump and be like, I'm trying to be like Anna?
Yeah, I think for me, it really helps to like follow accounts that we're talking about, jobs that I was interested in and just like the industries that I was interested in. Like I follow a lot of like marketing girls and just people that talk about marketing. And so it made it easier to find something. And then I think also just me working at a 7-person company is very different from someone that works at a huge corporation. So I think it's totally different. Like if that's important to you, then go do that. But like if you're not opposed to working at a smaller company, there's a lot of really great opportunities for you. And I love it.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Anna. You've made it to the lightning round. So 5 questions you could answer in 30 seconds, 45 seconds or less. Okay. I might ask a why if you give me a really good answer. Okay. I might actually go deeper. But question number 1, the most overrated event format in B2B marketing right now?
Webinars with 75 slides that end in a product pitch.
Why is that?
Because it doesn't work. Everyone starts, if we do that, everyone starts booing us in the comments, like literally like throwing tomatoes. So we like have switched all of our webinars basically to be either like panel formats or like a tear down or like competition type of event. Because the slide decks, like people are done with that. Okay.
This is not to attack the bundle you sell, but if you could only pick one type of sponsorship, newsletter, podcast, webinar, or event, which one do you think would be the best ROI for a brand? Like if they were to be like, I'm gonna pick one of these for Exit 5, I'm gonna start here and then we'll expand.
Well, it's like I don't want to answer that because it like goes against our model. But probably realistically a webinar. Just because it's like we typically generate like 1,500 registrants per webinar. And we host them twice a month. Like we've had some that have had over 2,000 registrants, which is insane. Yeah. So like, yeah, it's a great channel.
What format? What software are you using to host that many people on a webinar?
We're using a platform called Zettle. They're a sponsor of Exit 5 currently.
Oh, shout out Zettle. Okay. Question number 3, best advice for someone planning their first B2B marketing event?
Start early, stay organized, make a checklist, read the contracts.
Great answer. What's the trend in B2B sponsorships or events that everyone's obsessed with that you think is just overrated?
A trend that's overrated? The webinar thing with the 75 minutes. I don't know. What is a trend that's overrated? I don't know. I'm not a hot take person.
It's okay.
A trend that is overrated is saying hot take on LinkedIn about something that's like not a hot take. Like, I'm so done. I feel like I'm just going through LinkedIn it's been tough for me lately. I feel like it's rough right now.
I know we're in the lightning round, but I used to love commenting and engaging. It doesn't feel that, it's not as magical as it once was.
Yeah, I've been feeling that way for like the past couple months. It's been hard.
Dave's been doing well though. So
Yeah.
good for
Yeah.
him. Last question. So in 5 years, do you think in-person B2B events will still matter, or will everything go virtual?
Oh, everything's going to continue to be more and more in person.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, people like need to connect. Everyone needs to get off their little screens and connect. Especially like, I don't know if you watched the Super Bowl, but all the ads were like AI and just AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I saw so much on LinkedIn after that about people that are like, I'm sick and tired of this and we need to touch grass. And so I think the in-person event thing is going to be big, and that's why I love working at Exit 5. It's a great place to be in right now.
Well, thank you, Anna, for hopping on Sour and Sass and gracing us with your wisdom and
Yeah,
your
of course.
bubbly, joyful personality. Can you give us a shameless plug for Exit 5, the retreat, or Drive? Either one you want. So this is your time.
Yeah. Go check out Exit 5. It's exit5.com. Shouldn't be hard for you to look up if you're a B2B marketer. And then if you want to come to the best event for B2B marketers, especially B2B marketing leaders, this fall we are hosting our annual Drive conference for our third year in a row in Stowe, Vermont. We're renting out an entire ski lodge for 400 B2B marketers to come and hang out and connect. So tickets just went live today. So go grab your ticket now, and I'll see you in Vermont.
Last question.
Yeah.
Vermont.
Vermont.
I know Dave lives there, but
Yes.
Vermont is not technically a massive tech hub. How do you get people to commit to coming to Vermont?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I think most people have to take at least 2 or 3 flights to get there anyway. You know, it's like no one can fly direct to Burlington, Vermont. Like, so it's like you have to travel at least like 9 hours to get there. But yeah, people love it. I think the word of mouth about Drive has just spread so much over the past like 2 years. It's really been one of the most talked about events in B2B marketing.
Yes,
and so
yes.
people will commit to it. And I think for you to have to travel that far to get there, it makes the event so much better because everyone's like invested in being there. Or like a lot of people will even drive up together from Boston, and like, it's just the community of it all. It's like,
Yeah, Dean told me I need to get there.
yeah, you do. Yeah.
All right, we'll make
Do it.
I'll try and make
Yeah, you
We'll see
totally
if we can.
should.
All right. Well, Anna, thank you. This is episode 10, right? Yes. Episode 10. Thanks to you, everybody, for checking out Sour and Sass. I hope you got a lot from this podcast on how you can better your sponsorship, or, hey, figure out a playbook for how to be a sponsor for Exit 5. Wink, wink.
Email me, Anna@exit5.com.
She just
You want
gave
to
you.
talk.
She just gave you the entire plug. I'd use it if I were you.
Yeah.
But until next time, thank you for tuning in to the Sour and Sass podcast.